Let me check. There was from the Hezbollah in Lebanon, and their power went out, but possibly it had something to do with the attack on Lebanon. I have no idea, but we have two networks and they're both out. So I'm broadcasting on the telephone mobile, and I don't know how well we're going to do. So Lebanon, or Hezbollah in Lebanon, upped the ante on the war with us, and they made a rather substantial attack this morning, and they damaged houses, wounded, I think, 2 people and killed 1. And this is going to cause a blowback from Israel. We attacked central Lebanon yesterday, and the said that he would annihilate Israel, and, the same things Hamas was saying. All right, so we'll go into this a little bit. We have videos all over Israel. I put them up on my Telegram site. You hear the rain in the background. I can't do much about this. We're acting under less than optimum conditions, okay? So what happened is videos of the Sinwar, the schmuck that runs Hamas in Gaza, evacuating through tunnels with his family, and then we took videos where he was living. He had 2 toilets. They were full toilets, sinking, ahead. Shelves, food, UNWRA food, and stuff like that. So he's living like a tunnel rat now, and he's on the run. And it's not going to be very long till our soldiers get him. And that's going to be an upgrade in the wars. The Houthis shot another ship, I believe it was a Brazilian ship or Brazilian flag, bringing corn to Iran. So these dumbbells hit it with 2 missiles. Trying to stop Iran from getting corn. They hit it with 2 missiles, but the boat was still seaworthy. So it's proceeding. So this gives us a good look at how good the advanced missiles are that the Houthis in Iran say they have. Iran shows a video of them testing new missiles off of some boat they had. I think it's a converted civilian vessel, maybe a warship, I don't know. And you see the missile launch, and you watch it go maybe a half a mile, and then they tell you, oh, it goes 2,000 miles. My nonsense, it goes to... Well, people believe whatever they tell you, If Iran came out with a statement that we just build a big base on the moon and we have new missiles we could rain down on Israel, that people would believe it. If they said they've occupied and taken over Venus, Pluto, and Saturn, then people would believe it. They hit a civilian vessel that has no defense mechanism, and they hit it twice, and the boat's still seaworthy. So, now Iran had a very disastrous 2 explosions and fires in their pipeline for natural gas last night. Gee, what a coincidence. Who would have done a thing like that? Not Biden. So now Iran is, their whole natural gas pipeline, their biggest one, is shut down. Who could have done a thing like that? I wonder who blew the pipeline. So, this now the Houthis are saying, because we attacked Rafah and we're invading, that they're going to up their game. They also came out and said, oh, we're not going to cut the internet cables. Yeah, if you want to believe that, I got a bridge that connects New York and London, and you could buy, you know? Egypt, uh, calm down. They're not saying they're going to break the peace treaty with Israel. But does that mean anything? These are liars. It doesn't mean a thing. Look at Biden lie. It means nothing. Now, their fear was apparently this, that Israel would remove the 1.5 million or so civilians in the south of Lebanon by Rafah and put them in the Sinai Peninsula. And Egypt, you know, it's under their territory right now, but that's very shortly going to change. So they're, you know, saying, oh gosh, you know, you put them in there, we're never going to get them out of there. You know, Israel will get rid of them, and then the Jews will move into Gaza, and Satan will be mad at us because it's reversing Bible prophecy again. Actually, not reversing, fulfilling. So he'll get mad, okay? And, you know, the head of Egypt, Sisi, doesn't want Satan mad at him. So what did they do? Egypt says, we'll build 15 tent cities that hold 25,000 each. I think that was the numbers, which would not, it'd probably be enough because a lot of them aren't going to evacuate. And we'll foot the bill, and we'll build it in Gaza. Then one of the Egyptian officials, I think the foreign minister, comes out with a statement, not for the world, but for the people in Gaza, and says, you can't leave Gaza because if you leave, the Israelis will occupy it. Now that shows us Egypt's a really good friend, right? Yeah, with friends like them, you don't need enemies. So, they said that you have to stay there to keep them from occupying it. And you got to fight. You all got to fight. You got to support Hamas. This is the schmuck that Netanyahu he just sent a delegation to Egypt to negotiate with Hamas. This guy Netanyahu is so bad for Israel. You know, it's almost like Hitler's in the prime minister seat. It's not that bad, but I mean, he's that bad. I mean, the guy's horrible. Why would he negotiate? Why would he go and use Egypt as a third-party negotiation partner when they hate us? Why would he do that? Why did Biden leave the border open? Duh. You got it yet? That's how Satan works. Don't be ignorant of Satan's devices. That's how he works. He comes at you with deception, okay? So the delegation returned already, and it was not fruitful. Nasrallah rejected 3 peace proposals from France and some other entities for the quiet down Lebanon. And they said, we're not quieting down until they leave Gaza. Now, what if Israel doesn't leave Gaza? What if they capture Sinwar, the leader of Hamas in Gaza? What are they going to do to him? Well, they're going to try to take him alive. But if they don't take him alive, you're going to see the Eichmann trial all over again. Will they execute him? I don't know. If they keep him in jail for life, what's going to happen is there's going to be numerous attempts by the terrorists surrounding our country to take hostages from Israel in massive amounts, not 100 or 200, but thousands, and you don't want them traded for the release of this guy. So the best thing Israel can do is do a fast military tribunal, like 2-3 days, bring him outside, put him up against the wall and shoot him or hang him or give him an injection or throw him off a roof like the Muslims do, or, you know, something like that. So this is a new problem for Israel. The Israelis are going to be telling them that um, if they go and kill them, there's going to be a big uprising. There's going to be a big uprising no matter what they do. Let's not get silly about this, okay? All right. What else? They're going to have this guy pretty soon. There's supposedly 10,000 Hamas and I guess PIJ added in, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, dead, according to the IDF. We heard it was 12,000, now we're hearing 10,000. So let's say it's 11,000. Okay? Substantial. But we were under the understanding they had 50,000. Now we're being led to believe it's more like 25,000. I don't know. There's 3 of their battalions down in Rafah, and when they get disorganized, discombobulated, killed, dismantled, confused, basically Hamas is considered in military parlance defunct. Small groups of independent terrorists running around the Gaza could still jump out of buildings, and if they have shoulder-fired rockets, fire them at tanks and shoot at soldiers. But that's not war anymore. That's just cleaning up guerrillas. It's nothing. Guerrilla warfare type thing. It's nothing. Our soldiers are in armor, tanks and stuff like that. It's not going to be a big deal. So I think at this point, Israel is going to have to escalate against Lebanon. Now, we also have to take into account starting March 10th, going through the 9th of April is Ramadan, which is normally a very bloody holiday with the Muslims around the world, especially near Israel. So we can expect that if we're still fighting, it's going to be heated up in Ramadan. Protests around the world, like shutting a bridge in Vancouver for 2 hours, Columbia University and other things going on with pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian protesters is going on, but that's just noise. That's just the warm-up. The real act hasn't begun. What else do we got? Israel, the top generals in Israel put an article out. I put it on my Telegram in Jerusalem Post, that they're asking to draft people in Israel into the military that are normally exempt. There's 2 categories that were mentioned. You send me an email if you want to talk. Send me an email and tell me what you want to talk about. My email address is in the description box on the bottom line. It's israelgiving7@gmail.com. But give me an idea what you wish to talk about, okay? So this thing in Lebanon is okay, so the draft. They want to draft the Arab citizens. Now, they don't normally have to go in the military. A small amount do go in. We have 1.6 million, and that's counting old people, children, women, and so forth. Would they draft the Arab women? This, I doubt. It's a possibility. Now comes the ultra-Orthodox. How many of those there are in Israel? I think 15% of Israel. So let me run the numbers. 1.5, 2 million, at least 1.5 million. That's counting children, women, old people, infants. They rarely go in the military. Some do, but very few. Very few. And this gives them a pool, I would say, where they could easily draft 400,000 or 500,000. Now you can't just suck that many in the military because you got to train them. They probably can handle bringing in, if they gear up for it, perhaps 50,000 a month, maybe a little more. That's about it. America, at the height of the military activity in the Vietnam War, we were able to draft 100,000 a month. I'd say we could probably do half of that. That's about it. After 138 days of this war, our soldiers are up to peak efficiency in fighting these terrorists. You have to understand that. And so is our Air Force, and so is our Navy. And they're highly efficient and effective. So these troops, the new ones that they brought in, they'd probably bring some of them into combat, but probably a lot of them would be doing other things, like, they'd probably give them an abbreviated training, maybe 8 to 12 weeks. It's not going to be fast enough. It's not going to do much good. I mean, let them do it. I mean, they want to do it, they're going to do it. The thing that this will do, and you have to look at this very seriously, is the ultra-Orthodox Shahs in United Torah Judaism hold 15 seats in the Knesset. And if this goes down with drafting the ultra-Orthodox, they probably will break out of Netanyahu's coalition. So Netanyahu is going to fight against this tooth and nail. Now Netanyahu will probably try to give him things to put up with it. I don't know. I don't know what this is going to play out to be. It's just in the talking stages. There's no bill in the Knesset. But it's interesting. They may be trying to get rid of Netanyahu this way. Syria, as far as we're concerned, has been quiet. We do keep bombing them a few times a week, once or twice. We see Iran bringing large trucks in from Iraq, probably large missiles. Iran is not going to attack Israel, okay? First of all, they don't have, I mean, they might put missiles in Syria. They tell you, well, we got missiles that could go to the moon and back, We could hit Neptune and Pluto with our missiles, and all this stuff. Yeah, Tower of Babel all over again. They're not hitting anything. If they're in Syria next door to us, yeah, they could shoot missiles at us. I give them that, and that's what they're trying to do. So these leaders of these terrorist nations are just pathetic liars, and they lie about everything. Everything. I mean, everything that comes out of their mouth you could consider a lie, just about. You can't take their word on anything. Egypt, too. Egypt has maintained a peace treaty with us for 40 years, so I have to bring that into their favor. Four Turkish military-age males in civilian clothes were picked up in Israel yesterday, and I'm sure they're going through a good interrogation system as to what the heck they were doing there, how they got in, and what they were up to. These are from Turkey. Fit military-aged males. What were they doing? See? And how could we ever consider Erdogan our friend? Netanyahu seems to. This piece of garbage, 5 million soldiers and just annihilate Israel, and Netanyahu considers him a buddy. He's stupid people in the back politically. He's excellent at politics, but he's not good at anything else. He's a dumbbell. Biden wants to get rid of him. This I'm sure of. Biden is having tremendous difficulty working with Netanyahu. We're not in Gaza. Netanyahu needs the popularity to stay in prime minister office, so his criminal cases don't proceed. Isn't this? It's just a joke. It's a comedy of errors. Okay. Just sorry, we're back, I guess. Europe is preparing for war. Yeah, I know the internet's rough. I'm on the mobile phone. So Europe's preparing for war with Russia. China's preparing for war in the Pacific. You've got all these immigrants, illegal as they call them, that get legalized with asylum in America. 70% are military-age fit males. Now more are coming in from Canada. More are coming in from California and Florida by boat. And there's, strong rumblings about a civil war popping up in America. The Homeland Security guy got impeached by the House, which is extremely rare to see anything like that. Venezuela is acting up. Belarus is siding with Russia. Putin slings threats around like there's no tomorrow. What else do we got? All the anti-Semitism around the world. Israel is currently at war with Yemen, the Houthis, Gaza, Hamas and PIJ, Hezbollah and Lebanon. The Iraqi and Syrian militias occasionally shoot missiles at us, and we're fighting an uprising in the West Bank on a daily basis with shooting and everything else with the soldiers. The pieces are not being put in place for the year of recompenses. I would like to hear your reasoning for that. I have never seen anything like this happen this bad since 1939. Since 1948, nothing like this ever happened. Nothing. Not in the least. Okay? It never came to pass. During World War II, who was not in World War II? Most of Africa, there was some fighting in Africa, but it was relatively minimal. The Middle East really didn't have much fighting at all. Europe was at war big time. Japan was at war. Basically, China and Japan were at each other uh, off and on around that time. And Japan was fighting a lot of the Pacific region, the smaller countries. That was it. North, South, Central America, the Caribbean islands were basically not at war except for America. But America was never fighting on its home turf. So much of the world was really not at war. Much of the world is getting ready to go to war. You got the Pacific ready to go all over again, Europe ready to go all over again, the Middle East ready to go all over again. And when you read Zechariah 30, verse 11, pertaining to the birth pangs, God's going to destroy the nations that he exiled the Jews into, which is 125 countries. And that should happen very quickly, I guess. Maybe it carries over into Gog and Magog, and I don't know, but it's listed right. It's written right there with Jacob's trouble and the birth pangs. So, what do you think? You know, it's never been like this. Never. It's really pretty pronounced, you know. So Israel, to escalate in Lebanon, now there's no signs of a peace deal. We have to go in with the tanks and the troops. It looks like we're going to get our victory in Gaza. God arranged this thing so Netanyahu's in a conflict of interest, and he can't just play ball with Biden, because then he'll wind up getting thrown out of office and going into jail from his 3 criminal cases. That could give him 16 years in jail as a maximum, and he's too old to survive that. So he's fighting basically for his existence or his life. And he's not listening to Biden. He's playing Biden for a chump. So Biden wants to get rid of him, but Biden doesn't know anywhere near as much about Israeli politics as Netanyahu does. So I don't think Biden is anywhere near capable of doing this. Plus, he has his own problems, big time. There's a chance when Israel catches this unmarked tunnel rat that the sleeper agents might rise up. Then you see, there's a lot of American patriots, survivalists, and militias that call themselves Christians and go to church, but they don't pay attention to the fact that Yeshua the Messiah was a Jew. And they probably think he converted to churchianity or something. And they will be very mad at Israel very soon if the sleeper agents break out. And they can't do anything to Israel. What are they going to do? Get in their jets and fly over here and bomb us? What are they going to do? There's nothing they can do. So they're going to vent out against Biden and the federal government. And, you know, they're talking. In the past, they used to say Israel runs America. Now they realize it's the other way around. But they might go back to that. Not that it's true or it even looks logical, but they're just going to need some sort of a reason to do this. And that could very well be the real straw that breaks the camel's back for the Civil War, which is coming. It says in Jeremiah 50:51, ruler against ruler. So that's on the way. Now I'm deciding if I should try a Bible study here in the rain like this. I don't think so. It's bad connection, bad screen, and I'm going to have a lot of trouble doing it. But I want to go through Micah 4 and 5 because it shows you very clearly what's going to happen. It plays to Zechariah 12 and Gog and Magog and all of this. It's really good. And I want to go through Isaiah 60, 61, 62, you see the kings of the earth bringing the Israelites back as an offering to the Lord. You see, that wouldn't be after Gog and Magog, because there's not much of them left after Gog and Magog, let alone their kings and royalty. In the beginning of Ezekiel 38, it says that only 1/6 of the countries that came to attack Israel will survive. Now that's in the King James 1611, the Geneva 1599. Most of the other English Bibles it was taken out of, but it's not taken out of the Hebrew text. So I don't see how that would work after Gog and Magog. I mean, the kings are so there's, I need to develop these things with you, but sitting here in the rain with a lousy internet connection doesn't sound like it's going to do it justice, So a victory looks like it's coming with Hamas. Netanyahu needs it to get the popularity of the people to stay in office. He needs to bring more hostages out, and he needs to conquer them. And then he's probably going to say, we're building a buffer zone, we're going to occupy Gaza, and I don't know if he'll move Israelis back into Gaza. There'll be a strong push to do this. A strong push. Will it work? I don't know. But what you're waiting for is the two witnesses to start working openly in Israel, and that's going to happen real soon. I don't have a day for you, but it's going to happen real soon. Now, I told you the other day that we started the new year based on the new moon. Now, I don't go by the crops. Some people say that the year doesn't start until the barley is abibed, in other words, ready, because it says, thou shalt not appear empty before me. Well, that statement applies to 3 of the feast days where you bring the first fruits to the temple as an offering to Jehovah, not just the new year. So they say, how could you have a new year if you don't have the crops? Well, if you had the crops, where the heck are you going to go with them? There's no temple, no operating priesthood, no altar. What are you going to do? And we would lose track of the Jubilee years. When you track the names of the months that they used when they were in Babylon, like Adar and Nisan and stuff like that, there's only 12. We read in the Bible in things like Ruth and other places, many places, it talks about the 12th month. It talks about other months in the Bible. It never talks about adding a month on, i.e. the 13th month. So I don't believe that's how we calculate it. So I just want to bring that out. Okay, so I believe wholeheartedly we use Genesis 1:14. The sun and the moon tell us what's going on, Now, if the barley was not abibed and you hit the 12th month, based on the new moon, which there's a new moon feast day every time there's a new moon, so it's a serious holiday, then what the heck would you do? You'd have to go to a 13th. I think some of these characters even went to a 14th month. So, what are they doing? I don't understand it, I can't find any place in the Bible where there's a 13th month. I know some of these people that follow it are well-intended and well-meaning and think they have some insights into this. Some of the leaders of this movement in the past are nothing but witches that were doing this to confuse the people by doing what they call an intercalculated year and adding months in so it matches the barley harvest, which is insane. I can't see any basis for this whatsoever. So we're in the new year. Okay, is it a Jubilee year? I won't call that. I don't know. Am I suspicious? It might be. Yeah, I'm sitting here, we're getting deluged with rain again. What's that going to do? Well, we got deluged with rain for 2 weeks. This time it's probably going to be, I don't know, the storm is supposedly weakening, and it might be not that much. 3, 4, 5 days, I think 5 days be the outer limit, and it's probably going to be less. But the last time the sun came out for several days, and then what happens? You water the crops, then you bring the sun out, and the crops bloom. Food for my people yet to come. Oman, in the desert by Saudi Arabia near the Persian Gulf and the Sea of Oman, is flooded again. Hail and everything else flooded. What do you think that is but God's watering his gardens for the people yet to come? What do you think it is? Saudi Arabia has been going through this too. They had a tornado in Oman the other day. A tornado in the desert? What the heck? Do you ever remember that? Saudi Arabia, the Mecca was hit with a tornado at Category 4. I never remember a tornado in any of these deserts. The continuing whirlwind of the Lord shall fall on the head of the wicked. But the whirlwind of the Lord means a storm or a tempest. And I think it's not a literal tornado. It's more like what he's doing. At the end of, it's either Micah 4 or 5, I think it's 4, he says he's going to do to the heathen like they never heard before. And it talks about the controversy over Zion. They're going to get slammed. Now, the European nations and other nations that in Jeremiah 30:11 are going to be destroyed, usually the last straw with the Lord is they do stuff against his people Israel or the land of Israel. So they're already starting to move. Some countries are putting sanctions on 28 Israeli settlers that attacked Palestinians. They say they lost their bank accounts in Israel, I understand. More countries are probably going to do this, and they're going to turn more and more against us. They're going to have to come to grips with the fact that they need to do a ground invasion against the Houthis in Yemen, and they're struggling with that. That's the wrap up. So I consider I owe you a Malachi 4 and 5 Bible study. I don't know if I'll get it out today, but it's coming. It's a good one. And that's basically what I got. So please pray for me. Moshe, pray for our animals and pets, which are all rescues. They'd be happy, healthy, and whole. Thank you for the offering. Offering information's in the description box that comes out under the video. PayPal's the best for me. And I'll get back to you as soon as the internet restores. Okay, I'm out.